Gino's East is one of Chicago's most famous deep dish pizza places. They've been open since 1966. And there are still some people who don't realize Gino's East is here in LA now too. And let me tell you, it feels like you're in Chicago when you're in there. I'm in there most every Friday, and it feels like home. Happy hours from 3 to 6, Monday through Thursday. Get $5 drinks like Stella and Dark Horse Chardonnay, and $6 eats like spinach artichoke dip, garlic breadsticks, and a jumbo bowl of fries. There's so much great stuff on the menu, I always have a difficult time deciding what to order at Gino's. My go-to is probably the tavern pizza, cheese and sausage. But when I see someone next to me eating a deep dish, my mouth starts to water. Then I see the Italian beef with giardiniera, and I want to snatch it from the waiter's tray. Gino's East of Chicago in Los Angeles was named Best Pizza in the Southland by LA Times readers 2 years in a row. It's more than just a Chicago restaurant. It's one of the best restaurants in LA. Check out the friendly confines of Gino's East, LA today, on the corner of Coldwater Canyon and Riverside Drive, just off the 101. See you there. Sit back and relax. It's time for peanuts, popcorn, and Cracker Jacks. Hey, how's it going? I'm your host, Jeff Santo. I'm here with my wife, Christy.
Hello, hello. So I hear we got some mail over there.
We do. We got an email that I'm going to read, and it starts this way. Hello, Jeff and Christy. I was listening to your latest Peanuts, Popcorn, and Cracker Jacks podcast, and I got to say thank you for the interview with Bobby Denier. His talking about what he called the keys to success was like a lightning bolt hitting me in the heart. It gave me a reminder of the missing pieces in my personal life. If you recall, he said the keys were belief in God, belief that dreams can come true, work harder than everyone else around you. It had me look inside and admit that even though I had those first two keys down pat, I hadn't been working harder than everyone else around me, like I did when I was really hungry in my 20s and 30s. So thank you to Bobby for the reminder, and keep up the great work on the podcast.
Oh, that's great.
Tony Matarisi. Hey, Tony. Tony, I'm going to see you soon down at Gino's on a Friday happy hour. You're going to come up from San Diego. Can't wait for us to get together, man. Thank you for that email.
Yeah, we all need that reminder. You know?
Right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm 60, right? And I think I'm working harder than I've ever worked. And
you are.
And I feel we both are.
Yeah, and we feel great about it. Hard work in general is gratifying. You know what I mean? There's something satisfying about a good day's effort of work.
You're right. There is. There really is. And it keeps you moving forward, right?
It does.
Like, you don't realize that you might have that, do you have the stamina? And at 60, I got to say, if you stay healthy and physically and mentally,
And keep moving. Motion creates motion.
Yeah, you got to. And I really believe in it. And just having like the second part, belief that dreams can come true,
Yes, like you're working on the dreams. That's what it's like. You're continuously working at a goal. And so each time you put in the effort, doing the hard work, you're getting closer and closer to that goal. And that is also a gratifying feeling. Like Eddie Vedder said in the documentary that we did, Off the Boulevard, he said, enjoy the struggle. And there's something true about that, because you can enjoy the effort that you're putting forward to reach your goal.
Yeah, because if you think too much about like the future too, right, and the past, it's like you stay in the moment more and just keep moving forward. And I feel the older I've gotten, I feel like I understand that a lot more. Like, do enjoy the struggle. Do enjoy living and breathing and fighting for something in your life, fighting to be someone better than who you are, right? And that to me is what keeps me going, and that dreams, no matter how old you are, they're still alive,
Oh, yeah. Living the dream. Every day is living the dream with you. I love that.
Oh, I love it too. I love it too, baby. Well, our guest today, man, talk about
stamina
and just
perseverance,
working hard. And Fergie Jenkins, I've been trying to get him on the podcast for a while, right? And so cool to get him on. And I got to tell you, in 1971, he had 39 starts and he had 30 complete games.
That's
It's
unbelievable.
unbelievable. He had 5 seasons of over 300 innings pitched. Every game he went out there knowing it's his game to win or lose, that, a complete game, like you're going to complete 30 games, you're going to lose maybe 40%. I mean, to just know that, what a different mindset going out there knowing that, the game's in your hands, basically.
Such a good interview.
Yeah, can't wait for everyone to listen to this.
Enjoy.
This podcast is brought to you by Bernie's Tap and Grill. It's family owned and operated since 1954. Located across from Wrigley Field on Clark and Waveland. My dad hit a few home runs on the Waveland Avenue, and Bernie's was my dad's favorite place to go. It's got delicious food, 4 full-service bars, an awesome beer garden, a sidewalk patio cafe, and a cool upstairs area. It's the place I've always met my friends at before and after games. Go on by and tell Linda Dillman Jeff Santos sent you. Bernie's Tap and Grill, where you go when you go to Wrigley. My special guest is one of the greatest pitchers in Major League history, a Hall of Famer. He was a 20-game winner for 7 seasons, 6 consecutive years winning 20 or more games. He led the league in the fewest walks per 9 innings, 5 seasons, led the league in complete games, 9 seasons. In 1971, he had 30 complete games out of 39 starts on the mound. He's one of only 5 pitchers to have over 3,000 strikeouts with under 1,000 walks. He won the Cy Young Award in 1971. He's the greatest pitcher in Chicago Cubs history, no doubt about it. Has a statue outside Wrigley. And in the offseason from 1960 to 1969, he was a Harlem Globetrotter. My dad adored him and loved the man. Fergie Jenkins, so excited to have you on the show.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fergie, to have this amazing career in life and stamina, tell me about your childhood and your parents, because that's where it all starts, right?
Well, I was born in a little town, Chatham, Ontario. Father's family came through Canada through what they call the Nordiques, or the Arcadians, one of those groups that were from the Bahamas, settled in Nova Scotia. And my mother's family were escaped from, I think, Kentucky, and they came through the Underground Railroad, which is a famous story that has been told years and years through different histories through the Negro League. And they had a Dutch descent. Lucas and Van Duzens were their names. And my grandmother ended up marrying a Jackson when she moved to Canada. But the story was from the 1800s. That got a lot of history to it. So I'm pretty proud of the fact that I'm proud of that heritage.
That's unbelievable. And your parents, I mean, you were the only child, correct?
Yeah, my dad and mom, I was lucky enough to be born to them. And my mother had a bit of a problem. She had glaucoma. So the doctors advised her after childbirth was to have a hysterectomy. So I was the only one born, the only child.
Wow. Was it true that you used to throw lumps of coal from the coal yard to perfect your pitching style?
Well, a lot of stories on that. Growing up as a kid, we lived across from Terry's coal yard, and I used to be able to throw coal into an ice chute. That was a small opening, and it was about 30, 40 yards away, and I was able to hit it about 8 or 9 out of 10 times. But as a kid, a lot of things are said about doing things as a kid, and I did that as 11, 12 years old. And I think the story's been told quite a few times that really helped my control as a baseball pitcher. But I had a lot more work than that one once I signed professionally. But it was a stepping stone that got things going.
Back in your era, you and my dad and all the guys that played, you guys played other sports. Did you letter in 5 sports in high school?
Yeah, I ran track, basketball, hockey, and I was on the soccer team for a while and volleyball team. So I lettered in quite a few sports.
Wow, and you didn't play baseball in high school? They didn't have the
no. We didn't have a baseball high school team. Sandlot team I played for in Chatham, from Pee Wee all the way up to junior. and they were all sponsored by, JC's, Kiwanis, Moose, that type of group. That was sponsored teams for youngsters, and I played on those teams basically in the summer months.
Amazing, man. And your dad was an athlete, right? He played semi-pro baseball?
My dad barnstormed with a team that's called the Chatham Black All-Stars back in the 30s. They won a couple of OBA championships, 35, 36, and my dad was an outfielder. Hit left-handed, threw left-handed. And I don't think I got any traits from him, but I ended up being a right-handed ball player, right-handed pitcher, and a right-handed hitter.
Right. And what did your parents think when you made it to the big leagues? What was it like for them to come to Wrigley Field and see you pitch?
Oh, my parents were pretty excited at the fact that, I signed a pro contract with the Phillies right out of high school. And then I was in their organization about 2.5 seasons, and then got traded in 1965 to the Chicago Cubs and started all in 66 through 73, and then I came back to 82, 83. But the 10 years that I played with the Cubs, my family were more than happy to drive from Chatham or take the train out of Detroit and go to Chicago and watch a lot of games I pitched. And I've tried to reiterate a lot of stories. Whenever my parents showed up, to this day, I don't think I ever lost. Maybe about 8 or 9 trips. They came to Chicago, a couple of times to Cincinnati, 2 times to Pittsburgh, and I always seem to have a pretty good performance.
Wow, that's great, man. And when you came over to the Cubs, you came in was it the 66? You got traded. Did Leo bring you over?
Yeah, I came over in a trade with Adolfo Phillips and John Herrnstein for Larry Jackson and Bob Buell from the Cubs. 5-player deal that got me to the Cubs in early '66, right after spring training.
Wow.
Pretty awesome trade. That Cubs needed an outfielder, needed a first baseman for Ernie Banks, who's getting older, and I think it was Don Landrum was playing center field, and they wanted a younger center fielder, so they got Adolfo Phillips, and I was one of the pitchers that were in that deal. End up really helping my career.
Yeah, I'd say you helped the Cubs quite a bit, man. And what was Leo like when you came over? What'd you think of him?
He was pretty a tough individual. He wanted everything done his way. I tell people that, I was raised a Baptist. And my mom used to always tell me, if you didn't learn the word of the Bible and Jesus Christ, you were going to soon meet the devil. I tell people I met the devil in 1966 in Leo Durocher.
And then you met another one, Billy Martin, in 74.
Oh, I met his partner, Billy Martin. He was the devil's sidekick, Billy Martin. They were tough managers, but the nice thing about it, if you went ahead and did your job, which I knew my job was to pitch and try to win, that I never had any problems with either one of them. So I just played the game, and I was very fortunate enough. Out of those 10 to 12 years I had those tough managers, I just tried to do my job and win ball games.
And you sure did, man. The amount of innings that you put in, Fergie, I mean, throwing 308 innings in 60, 68, 69, the time that you had your 20-game streak, 6 seasons in a row, you had over 300 innings, 4 seasons, 5 seasons. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that pitchers did back then. Bunning, Short, Gibson, Marichal, Seaver, Carlton, we all threw a lot of innings. There was only a 4-man rotation on each ball club. So we got that opportunity to start like every 4th game. We're out there pitching, regardless of win, lose, or draw. You're out there playing and trying to win ball games.
Yeah, what kept you healthy, though? You think because you were doing it so much? Why is it so different today and so many pitchers get hurt today?
I look back. I did a lot of throwing. I threw batting practice a lot of times in between starts. I had a strong arm. It could have been genetics or just I had a pretty good windup. Cal McCliff was my first pitching coach with the Phillies. Taught me a pretty decent windup, and then I had Joe Becker later on with the Cubs. But I had so many different Larry Jansen as a coach, so many different pitching coaches that really Al Jackson that helped me do the right things so I wouldn't get hurt. And when I look back now, a lot of those individuals were the right instrument that got me, playing the game the right way, and I was very happy to stay healthy all those seasons.
Right. That's what it's all about. And when did you know that the Cubs had a decent team? Like, you got there in '66. When did you know, okay, this team can win it?
Well, in '68, at the end of the season, the ball club had made some decent trades that we were getting key people, and in '69 we made a couple of key trades. We got Milt Pappas, we got Callison, Joe Pepitone in 1970. Some of the key people that really helped our ball club. Ernie Banks is getting older, so was Billy Williams and Ron Sano. But Kessinger and Beckard, Hunley, we had Don Young in center field after we sent Adolfo to Montreal. But, there was just certain key people that you knew the ball club was playing so well, was scoring runs, good defense, that we were kind of the best team in that division. There was only 2 divisions back then. So we had to outplay the Cardinals, outplay the Mets, or outplay Pittsburgh. So it was tough from time to time.
Yeah, you guys had an experienced team. Billy and my dad were still young, though, right? 29, when you look at it. And you guys were ready to rock and roll. All the other guys kind of had 4 years under their belt, like Randy and Beck and Cass, and and you had Hickman out there, too. Now, that season, what was that like for you?
When you look back, you played every day at third base, every day. He was dependable. 8-9 years in a row. He was always the all-star third baseman, Gold Glove winner. So when you look back at guys that loved the game, wanted to play, your dad was one of those individuals.
Yeah, man. And so were you, man. And he just loved when you were on the mound. Always talked so highly of you, Fergie. And, I just remember being in the clubhouse all the time, and I just loved being around you guys as a little kid. The atmosphere was great. You guys were awesome to kind of observe and, not even consciously, really knowing what I was in, right? Because I was born into it. But boy, just to talk to you now, it's such an honor and pleasure. And, that season, boy, you guys got off to a great start. Let's go back to, like, in spring training. You talk about that horseback ride. Was that right before the '69 season?
That was '68.
Okay.
Your dad and Billy had gotten a hold of a riding academy there in Scottsdale. And we had an off day. We had Lou Johnson, Richard Nye, myself. There were 4 or 5 of us out there riding. And I got on one of these older horses, and we're out there going across the desert. All of a sudden, she turned around. She wanted to go back to the stable. And almost knocked Rich Nye off his horse, ran right into him, and I'm headed back to the stable. And it's really unfortunate as you ride out. A lot of times these tracks are hard cement or maybe asphalt. I didn't want to pull her up. I didn't want her to fall. Well, she rode me into part of a fence, knocked me off, and I ended up having to go to the hospital. The guy threw me in the back of a pickup truck. Didn't break anything, but I was badly bruised. And the next morning, we had to report to spring training and Leo. And Leo, being that your dad was the captain of the team, said, "You got to know better. On an off day, go horseback riding." And he didn't find me or Ron or your dad or Billy, but he punished us. Believe me. From then on, spring training, we made every road trip.
Yeah.
So Yuma, you name it. Any place we had to go. Tucson, man, we made every road trip. We didn't have an off day. None of us.
Oh, man. My dad told that story so many times. And when he said that, Leo gives you guys, the veterans, the day off, and my dad takes you horseback riding. And were you ever on a horse before that?
Yeah, I had some horses, but I didn't do a whole lot of riding. And this particular brood mare I got on, she's a little older, but she had her own mind, and she wanted to go back to the stable. She didn't want to go out riding across the desert, unfortunately. I was the one that got punished.
Right. My dad said he tried to chase you down and no luck. And just thinking
The
like
horse
there's
was
our
taking off. Oh man, she had a full head of steam, and she wasn't going any place but back to that stable.
I heard it's like one of the guys said something like Fergie can ride. Look at him go.
I was holding out for bare life.
right. And to think that, and you started opening day just after that, right? Wow.
Yeah. You know what was so crazy? Leo gave the start to Joe Necro in Cincinnati, and we ended up losing the ball game, close game. So I told myself I better be ready to pitch the next day, which I did. I pitched the next day and won.
Wow, that's amazing.
He didn't forgive me for months of getting hurt, and my leg stayed bruised for at least over a month.
Wow.
Once I hit that fence and pulled me off, it just bruised my hip all the way down my leg, and my leg stayed bruised. Jeff, I believe for at least a month and a half.
Holy cow, man! Boy, that could have been bad, right? That could have gone really bad.
I could have probably broke my knee or broke my leg, but unfortunately, no bones broken, just badly bruised.
Right. Oh, you got that right. Wow. Now, Fergie, getting into the '69 season, you guys are off to this great start. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I know that that Don Young game was a critical game for you as a pitcher. And I know a lot of reason that my dad was really upset, how upset you were from the loss. And I don't want to bag on Don Young here. I mean, the kid's story itself was kind of an amazing story, how he came up to the big leagues in '65 for a cup of coffee. And I just found out recently, I didn't know he was in the starting lineup against Koufax for the perfect game when they got in '65. And then,
I didn't know that either.
yeah, right. Then went back down and then kind of fell down in the minor league system. And then in '68, after the '68 season, he was basically out of baseball and kind of couch surfing in San Francisco and found out the Cubs needed center field. And he called John Holland and he invited him to the spring training, and he won that spot. That's pretty amazing story how a kid can do that. What did you think of him when he came to the Cubs in '69 in spring training?
Well, he had good tools. Everybody that comes on the 40-man roster has probably had a decent minor league career, and he could hit, he could field, he could run, he had a great arm in the outfield, and he replaced Adolfo Phillips after that trade, after Adolfo went to Montreal. So we knew we had a pretty good ball player in Don Young. It's really unfortunate that situation happened where he just forgot, I think, it was in like the 8th or 9th inning. He forgot to take sunglasses out to the outfield, played a day game in Shea Stadium. Balls fell in, and Leo was kind of ticked. And it was Leo's argument that he got to Don in that predicament because of the fact that your dad stood up for him. It's really unfortunate that things happen in the game, and the heat of the moment, trying to win, was going for a pennant, and Leo was just barked right at Don Young, right in his face, which was unfortunate. And your dad tried to cool the situation down, and reporters wrote a big article about it. So, but I mean, when you look at it, when I look back, the heat of the moment, a lot of things are said, and sometimes you just got to pick and choose your words correctly, and wait an hour or so, because we never had a cooling down time after ball games. As soon as the games were over, reporters were right in your face in the locker room. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And a lot of times things were said, and you hope that a lot of times at least they're going to put a decent article in the paper, which this didn't happen in that situation.
Right. And now I know that you were talking about, and I heard over the years that was he kind of down because he wasn't hitting or something? And because I remember reading a lot of stuff about Don where he said, at the end of the day, he kind of didn't have the endurance to hang through a full season and might have got worn out. But I know that you were trying to tell him, you like to tell the outfielders where to position. Did you not? Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of times prior to the game, we had team meetings. Randy and I would try to get the outfielders in certain positions. But the biggest thing that hurt Don when he went into a slump, and then that situation happened, because we still had at least 15, 20 games to play. in that situation. It was like early September. And
No, that was July. Yeah, July. You actually happened in July 8th.
It was early. July.
Yeah.
I know that he ran into a slump, and unfortunately, it just carried on. But everybody, of course, the season 162 games, you got to run into a bit of a slump, and that situation, and I think that's what hurt Don.
Yeah, but you did like to. You knew where everybody was going to hit if they did make contact on you. So you like to move people around, right? Out there?
A lot of times, yeah. Oh, certain situations, men on base or nobody on, move the outfielders in certain areas, so that would help me basically with the pitches I was trying to throw. And Randy and I had that idea that if we can put people in the right positions, we might have a good opportunity to get balls that ordinarily might fall in. And
right.
A lot of times it works. You always hope that it's going to work.
Right. Now, how many times did you go head-to-head against Bob Gibson?
Ooh, maybe over a dozen times.
What was that?
Over a dozen.
For you?
Same thing with Marichal and probably the number one pitcher, Carlton, Seaver. We always matched up a lot of times and Drysdale was tough on us with the Dodgers. I never got Koufax. The odd time I'd get Sutton, but most of the time I'd get Drysdale in the early mid-60s. But he was a tough competitor against the Cubs. I'm not saying that we couldn't beat him, but we had a tough time against him.
But did you get more like when you knew you were going against Gibson or Marichal? Did you go up? What was it like for you? Did you take it just like any other game? Because my dad always talked. He always say you always knew if you were facing a guy like that, or I'm sure they thought the same thing. We're facing Fergie Jenkins. Like as a hitter, you're just a little bit more aware, right? You kind of go to that top level.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that before the game even starts, it's going to be a tough afternoon, and we play the games, so we knew the day was going to be tough. We had to score early and play good defense, or not give up any runs and score late. So that happened a lot of times playing the Gibson. We didn't score enough runs against Gibby, and I can recall a few times that Billy had some key hits. Your dad had some key hits, or Ernie, and we had to try to score those runs late because Gibson wasn't leaving after 5-6 innings. He was going to be out there for 9, and I know I could 1 or 2 ball games again, beat him in the 10th. Beat him in the bottom of the 9th, something like that, over in St. Louis, or we beat him at home. But, the biggest thing against the number one competitor, Marichal, Gibson, Carlton, Seaver, you can't give up runs early because they get stronger as the game goes on. So you got to try to keep that game low scoring as much as possible and hope that you could get them maybe late in the ball game.
Wow, man. Did you know that every time you went out there, you're going 9 innings, right? There's no doubt.
Yeah, Leo would walk by me in like the 5th and the 6th. He says, "Don't look for help. We're giving the bullpen a rest today." I'm trying to say. Billy Martin was just like that too. Hey, big fella, don't look for help today. I went, what? To myself, But 9 innings was part of what you're trying to do, to try to complete a ball game, pitch strong enough that you're going to try to win. And when I look back, sometimes that situation always helps.
Yeah, man. I just you had so many complete games. And when you lose a complete game, that's got to be draining.
Well, it's like winning a game too. You lose 2-1, 3-2, and you threw 9 innings. And hey, sometimes the opposing pitcher was just a little better. Or you didn't give up the runs that end up were the deciding factor of you winning or losing a ball game. So, to me, the number one thing is that, if you had the right ability to go out there against the Gibson, or Marichal, Seaver, whoever was Drysdale, the team was going to back you. They were going to play hard, and that's all I wanted. I could tell when guys are playing really tough for me, playing that good defense, man, I said, hey, I got to do my job, which was something that I enjoyed doing.
Right. And in '69,
Fergie. What do you think went wrong? What was the reason why you guys fell at the end?
Well, we played so many day games. I just think that we scored runs, but we just didn't score enough. I mean, we had plenty of hits. We'd get 9 hits and only score 3 runs. And early in the season, we'd have 9 hits or 5, 6 runs. So the run production was a big problem then too. But I don't think the guys were tired. Leo had a set lineup. He put guys. He started off with Kessinger, Becker, Williams, Sano, Banks. And those were the lineups he had. So when I look back at it now, we played hard enough against the Mets. They just played a little better. Got to give them credit. Got to give them credit too.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you think you got who was your fourth? Like that you really depended because you guys had 3.
We had Rich Nye, Bill Hands, Holtzman, and myself.
Well,
4 of us.
Right. So Bill Hands, you and Holtzman, and then Rich. Did he go all the time, or did they?
Well, the odd time he might change and put Joe Niekro out there.
Gotcha.
Very seldom. But Leo had a set thought in his mind. He'd like to have 2 left, 2 right. And Rich Nye was pretty stable. I think that year, if I'm not, you might have to look it up. I still think in '69, I think Rich Nye won 12 games for us. Bill Hands won 20. I won 20. Kenny Holson won 17.
Yeah.
So we had guys that knew how to win, knew how to be competitive, and it's really unfortunate. You still got to take your hat off to the Mets. They played pretty good. They won more games in that stretch. We just had a bad stretch. Yeah, those last 15 to 20 games.
Yeah, and the Mets went crazy, and do you think
they
the Mets
beat Atlanta and then they beat Baltimore?
Were you guys scoreboard watching? Because weren't you guys like on the West Coast? Okay.
We always. I mean, I can recall when the Mets turned it around, they had a doubleheader. They won both games 1-0, and I'm not sure who the pitchers were that won the ball games, but I can recall seeing that they won a doubleheader against one of the West Coast teams, either San Francisco or LA. They won both games 1-0, and I mean they just turned it on. Cleon Jones, Tommy Agee, I'm trying to think. Crane Pool at first. They had a decent ball. Swoboda. They had a decent ball club. These guys put it all together that last 20 games.
Yeah, they sure did, man. They sure did. Did now Kenny? Let's talk a little bit about Kenny Holtzman. He just passed away.
Right.
You guys basically came up around the same time, right? I mean,
yeah,
you
Kenny
played a lot
in '65 with the Cubs, and I came up with the Phillies in '65, then traded it to the Cubs in '66. Yeah, so we were teammates 7 years pitching with each other. Yeah, good man.
Yeah, good man. All you guys were, man. That's got to be tough, man. Feeling that, knowing these guys, but what a career. Let me ask you this: what do you think of my dad's emotions? Did it ever get to you, or that's just who he was? When he played.
No, I think everybody has emotion when they play. I mean, you got to play with a fiery situation or the competitiveness that is going to take you over. And Ronnie never let anybody see a kind emotion because he went out there to play hard, try to win. I can recall when Hamilton hit him in the face. That one, I'm not sure what year it was, but he only stayed out of the lineup 1 or 2 days and back in there with a swollen face, stayed in the lineup. Ronnie was that type of guy. I don't know how many Gold Gloves he won, but quite a few times as the All-Star. But when Leo gave him that captain's position, Leo knew, I think Ronnie knew that he had to go out there and play competitive baseball.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you feel like the Cubs could have won it also in '70? Like, what happened that year? Because you basically had the same team, you got some more guys. Okay.
Pittsburgh got us that year. But, it was just, we played really good starting off the season right through to the All-Star. And then I think our bullpen let us down a little bit. But, we played tough. What was nice is we were in that tough, competitive I think, situation where we had to beat the Mets. We had to beat Pittsburgh. We had to beat the Phillies. So those teams in our division weren't letting us just slide. So we had a tough way to go when we had to right down towards the end of the season, and then Pittsburgh ended up winning that division that year.
Right. Yeah. And is it true? Like in '73, were you thinking of retiring?
No, I had an off start in spring training. Didn't really pitch well, and then John Holland, our general manager, was trading everybody. Kenny left, Kessinger left. There was quite a few of the guys that were getting traded. We're together like 7-8 years. So now your dad ended up leaving. I left. He was working out trades. I ended up being traded to the Texas Rangers, and I told reporters, like, where in the hell are the Texas Rangers at? I didn't know that their franchise trade changed from the Washington Senators to the Rangers. I said, where the hell's Texas? What division are they in? And I had after the trade, they got a hold of me. I had to go down there for a press conference. And I finally, they're playing in Arlington. It was a minor league ballpark. The Texas Rangers played in a place called Turnpike Stadium. I mean, only in the minor leagues, only sat like 15,000 fans, so they had to bring stands in and lights and everything. It was a fiasco down there because they got the franchise in '72, and I joined the team in '74.
Yeah,
and Billy Martin was the manager.
Yeah, then you walk in the clubhouse and there's Billy Martin waiting for you.
Oh man, he was a tough manager. I first met him in the spring of '74, and he ruled the ball club just like Leo with an iron thumb. Believe me. Oh man, he was.
Were they like, what was different about those two that you would say from knowing both of them?
Well, we had a lot of trades. We got Alex Johnson from the Angels, Cesar Tovar from Minnesota. It was a ball club of not a lot of original players. Jeff Burrows was playing right field. We had two rookies, Jim Sundberg and Mike Hargrove, and we got both those guys from Double-A ball. And they were just trying to patching the team with younger players and get rid of a lot of older players because it was a team that they didn't play real well in '72 and '73. I think they were in last place '73. When I joined the ball club, they had lost like over 100 games. So when Billy Martin took over, he was like Leo. He said, "Hey, this ball club, we got to start winning." That's the kind of guy he was. Started in the spring.
Yeah, and both those guys, Leo and Billy Martin, always talk highly of you. You were a workhorse. Both I've read. Fergie.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. We had a young pitching staff. We had David Clyde. Remember David Clyde? He was a high school kid. He was 18 years old. He started with a ball club. We had Jackie Brown, Jim Bibby, Steve Hargan. We had a decent staff, but we were all. And I was the oldest, I think, at 31.
Wow, man.
Bibby was 27, 28, and David Clyde, he was 18 years old when they took him right out of high school. Incredible.
That is incredible. You had a great year that year. Should have probably won the Cy Young again, right?
I won 25 games, and the biggest thing is I didn't get the votes. Catfish Hunter outvoted me, and he ended up winning the Cy Young.
And you got more votes for MVP than he did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I ended up winning the Comeback Player of the Year award.
Right, Comeback Player of the Year award. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
So, wow, you've had 6 consecutive seasons, 20 games, and then you have one that you don't, and you come back and you nail it with 25 wins, which was the most wins in the American League at the time, and you had the most wins in the National League at one time. It's an amazing feat what you did on the mound, Fergie. And I got to say this now: the Harlem Globetrotters, when you guys had those basketball teams in the winter, and because we had all the jerseys down in our basements, right in our basement after that was over, and me and Ronnie would be scared every time because you would look for someone to put on the court, and do those tricks, where they're shooting a free throw, the duck try to pull down their shorts or something. We loved that, man. But we were scared
that was
of
a lot
you.
of fun. That was a lot of fun playing. It just kept us in shape. We played on the weekends against high school alumni and sometimes the college alumni. But I think it kept us in pretty good shape playing on the weekends. Maybe play a Friday night and a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. So I think it helped us.
Well, you guys played at Holy Cross at different high schools, right?
Yeah. I think one winter we might have played like 50 games. Kept us in pretty good shape.
Wow.
Nobody was trying to be a star. Nobody wanted to get hurt, but we wanted to play pretty good. Kessinger played, Popovich, Kenny Rudolph, Dad, Ernie, Billy. We had Kenny play. Oh, there was quite a few of us. And it was an enjoyable time seeing all the guys. They used to fly in from Canada to come in and play.
That's funny. And the thing about today, they would never let that happen because someone would get hurt for sure, right?
They wouldn't want the players to do it, especially if you're in the starting lineup. They didn't want us to do that.
No. And speaking of that, like the 1-year contracts, what did I never really discussed John Holland. What did you think of John Holland, the general manager? Because he was there the whole time. He was there, in putting that team together. I think the biggest thing is he thought, to me, a lot of times the guys would say, they think John Holland owns the team. The team is owned by Mr. Wrigley. And he'd send these contracts out in the mail, and I'd send it right back to him because I didn't get a big enough raise. I was the first player I negotiated with Mr. Wrigley in spring training because I'd held out for like 15, 20 days. And I said, and I got sick and tired of getting a $10,000 raise where I thought I could make more money. I was playing against Marichal and Gibson. These guys were all making $90,000, and I was in the 40 range, 45,000. So, but it ended up working out pretty good when I talked to Mr. Wrigley, and finally we decided to get a pretty good contract. I think my contract was $92,500, and I ended up signing a 2-year deal. So I got a 2-year contract. I know I was going to be there 70, 71, and then I ended up winning the Cy Young and made even more money the next year. That's cool. Because I remember my dad would tell me that he would go in there and Holland would sit there and bring out these stats that were never on the back of a baseball card. He had 25 double plays you hit into, Ron. He's like, what are you talking about, man? And next thing you know, my dad said he would walk out of there feeling like he had a horrible season. Yeah, right. John would always bring it up. He says, I got to play Kenny. I got to pay Ernie. I had to pay Ronnie. I got to pay Kessinger. I got to pay Becker. I got to pay Williams. I said, sure, you got to play your 20-game winner, too. But see, Billy was hitting 300. Your dad was driving in 110 to 115 runs. Ernie was hitting 25, 30 home runs. And he was still capable of playing. Kessinger and Becker led the league in double plays. There was so many stats that he would bring up. And then I would always say, well, you got to still play your 20-game winner, right? And he'd look at me in the face and go, well, we'll think about it. He was incredible. He was, because I remember that trailer that he sat in outside in spring training. Remember, he had that little construction trailer, like in the outside the concourse. Yeah. But do you think he was a good general manager? Did you like him? We got along. I don't think anybody really likes general managers. When I got traded, I never got an opportunity to talk to him. Blake Cullen was our traveling secretary. You remember him, Blake Cullen? Oh yeah. He got a hold of Yosh, and Yosh got a hold of me, telling me that I got traded to the Texas Rangers. I said, aren't general managers supposed to let you know? He never phoned me, and I think when I came back to Chicago on a road trip, I ended up coming back in and I talked to him briefly. But the biggest thing is, general manager is supposed to let you know these trades, not the clubhouse guy. That says a lot, no doubt about that. Right? Really? He did think he was the owner. Really. Well, what are you doing now, Fergie? How's life going for you today? Everything's good. I'm living in a little town, Frisco, Texas. Just relaxing. I do appearances I still work for the ball club, for the Cubs, but I do the odd appearance for the Rangers. And when the Rangers
won, last year in the World Series. They gave me an invitation. I went to a couple of their playoff games in a one game World Series, which is fun to do. They got a good young ball club. The Rangers are in a brand new stadium, Globe Life Field. I mean, it's just the game has changed now. When you think about it, of all the different aspects of playing in a stadium or a new clubhouse, I mean, the game has totally changed.
Yeah. Do you enjoy watching it? Do you watch it?
Oh, I watch the game from time to time. Yeah, I watch, trying to see if these guys play as well as we play. When you think about it, position.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have maybe 2 or 3 guys. But, when I look back, we had 5 or 6 guys that could really play, and they basically dwell on their minor league systems. A lot of them bringing guys up from week to week, and I think that's helped ball clubs a lot of times.
Right. Has your family followed you out to Texas? I mean, I know you're there with your wife Kathy. The girls out there and your son.
Oh no, my girls are in Canada. Kelly, Dolores, and Kimberly, and Raymond. He lives in Warrenville, right outside of Chicago.
Oh, okay, great.
He's got a young family, but all the kids are doing well. I'm pretty happy. Knock on wood.
Excellent. 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 Now, Fergie, one last thing. Did they ever get to the playoffs with Texas when you were with them?
No, we were second to Kansas City in 1980.
That's right.
Yeah, we did. We had a good ball club. That was the year of the strike. We came back after the strike and had a bit of a slump. And Kansas City, because we had a half-game lead, I think, that year when the strike started. And then when we came back, we were quite a few games back, and we just never caught Kansas City that year.
Right. Okay. Because you and my dad and Ernie never played a playoff game. Is that correct?
Nope, never played a championship team. Yeah, you're right. Never had an opportunity. Your dad got over 17 years. I got 18 years, and Ernie got similar 18 years. Billy Williams, that one trade that Billy got traded to Oakland, I think he got a chance to play in the playoffs with Oakland. That was it. Kessinger never got in, and neither did Beckard. So many of us that played together. Hunley just never got an opportunity.
Right, and that happened back then because before '69 there wasn't even any divisions. It was you win the National League, you're in the World Series. In an alignment today, you guys would be in there. There's no doubt, right?
Oh we'd probably be a wild card team to get in, either 1 or 2, or maybe get involved in a trade that would trade us to a ball club. If we got there before September the 1st, we maybe had an opportunity to play in a playoff game, but just never happened.
How do you feel about that? Because I know my dad, it wore on him.
It would have been nice to have gotten into a playoff. I mean, it's more recognition. It's an opportunity to maybe win that World Series and get a ring. And the biggest thing is, he's always wanted to play in October, but it just never happened.
Yeah, I know, man.
Unfortunately,
what a team! Yeah. What a team you guys had, man, and what a group of guys you wore. I learned a lot from you just soaking up all the stuff as a kid, and it's never left me, Fergie.
That's good. Say that. Well, I'm happy for that.
And I always think about you guys, and I'm glad you're doing so well. And thank you for coming on my show, man. It means the world to me. Okay?
Well, I appreciate it. All right, you take care.
I hope to see you someday soon, man. You too.
For sure.
All right, Fergie. Thanks again.
All right,
take care.
Bye-bye.
This Santo moment is brought to you by Onesti Entertainment. On June 26, 1966, Ron Santo got hit by a pitch by Mets pitcher Jack Fisher, splitting his cheekbone in 2. At the time, Ron had a 26-game hitting streak, 1 game away from tying the Cubs' record, while also playing in 390 consecutive games. The blow to his face ended the consecutive game streak. But just a week later, on July 4th, Ron was back in the lineup with the first ever ear flap, playing in a doubleheader, and tied the Cubs' hitting streak, going 3 for 4 in the first game. In the second game, Ron had one last try to break the record when the home plate umpire told Ron he was going to call the game on darkness. Ron got a hit, setting a new Cubs hitting streak record at 28 games. That Santoid was brought to you by Onesti Entertainment.
This crackerjack call that I'm trying 3 different times now is to my nephew, Spencer. He is at Oklahoma University, OU, a freshman, went out there on his own, didn't know anyone, got into a fraternity, doing great. Anyway, I want to see how he's doing, and he had those tornadoes the other night that they had to take shelter on. So here we go. See if he picks up this time.
Crackerjack.
This call is being recorded.
Spencer,
Hello?
you're my crackerjack.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, you are. Were you dodging me? I called you like 3 times. There was no pickup.
I was on the way back from the dining hall.
From the dining hall. Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. So tell me, first of all, before we get into the school and everything, what about those tornadoes the other night? How was that?
That was the most bizarre thing I've ever been a part of. Nothing like I've ever seen before. It was the eeriest thing being on that back balcony and hearing the sirens come over from the town over, knowing it was just coming. Like any second we knew, and all of a sudden our sirens from like the campus, like the city of Norman, went off, and it was like at the Armageddon was about to happen.
I heard your mom told me you were walking through doing play-by-play, and there was no one around. You were going over to your fraternity house or something, and you could hear the winds. I mean, I heard those tornadoes kind of hide inside the rain. Is that true?
Right. Yes. The rain-wrapped tornadoes. When there's like those big thunderstorms, especially late at night, it's very hard to see them because they're just covered in low. Especially here, the clouds are really low here, especially when it rains.
Right, man. And what
but
was
that walk there to the house? It was It was the quietest thing I've ever heard.
Man, and you know what? We were giving you warnings like it's coming, we think it's an hour away, and then it didn't get there till like nighttime, right?
Right. It got there it was dark when it got there.
Wow, that's even spookier, right? I mean,
right. And we didn't know though. So one touched down 5 minutes away, and the weatherman was telling our whole university needed to actually get in shelter. It was that close.
Really? Now, where did they tell you to go? Do you have shelters there?
So my dorm has a bomb shelter, pretty much. You could survive a nuclear winter in the shelters they have here. But my fraternity house, there's no shelter there. I mean, it's a sturdy base. It's made out of bricks and concrete. So there, we just go to the first floor if it's really serious.
So wait, did anyone go down to the bomb shelter?
Here at my dorm, yes, kids here did. But us at the fraternity, no. We were. Yes, it was packed. I heard.
So that's a serious thing, because do they do that all the time? Every kind of storm that goes through Oklahoma?
I mean, when it's serious, when it's in the area, for sure. I mean, this is our first time this year since I've been here that we've had that happen.
Right. And so how many people can fit in that shelter?
I'm not sure. I gotta believe it 300-400.
Wow. So you decided to go to the place that wasn't sheltered. Come on now. I
Hey, Mom was the one who told me to go to that fraternity house.
Oh, listen to Mom. Okay. Next time you go down into the
storm shelter.
Bomb shelter. I mean, I don't think that was built for a bomb shelter. Maybe it was back in the.
I honestly think it could survive. It has it's full of those big doors that turn shut.
Yeah, no, those are they're getting ready for the tornadoes. Absolutely. Well, you're in tornado alley, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Norman and Moore, which is the town next to us, are two of the most prevalent tornado cities in the nation.
Wow. Yeah, something else, and I think you got another storm coming too, right? When?
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, listen.
Here,
hey, in between, that's called the eye of the storm. Okay.
Right.
Don't get too comfortable in the beautiful day. So anyway, hey, I can't believe it. Your mom told me and sent me over what you got, the letter from Oklahoma, nominated for membership to the National Society of Collegiate Scholars, Spencer. Amazing. And it said to elevate higher achievers like yourself. Your freshman year, you're in the top 20%. Unbelievable, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. And where did that come from? Because I have no idea.
No one in our family.
No, man, you're unbelievable. Way to go. Gosh.
Thank you.
Man, so tell me, like, what's school like? I mean, you're at OU in Norman, right? Norman what is it?
Yes,
what's
Norman. Yes.
Norman, Oklahoma. OU, it's the Sooners. Great football program, baseball program, everything.
SEC
and
next year.
What's that?
We're going to the SEC next year.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, just good stuff. But here you are. You leave like Arizona. You go there and you don't know anyone. What's that been like, man? Just not knowing anyone and going to this huge school like Oklahoma.
I mean, it was definitely tough at first, not knowing anyone, especially hard rushing a fraternity and then having to endure like pledship and stuff, not knowing anyone. Definitely was tough, but
yeah,
I mean, the people out here, I will say, it's a different culture out here than it is back home on the I don't know if you consider Arizona the West Coast, but it's just that the same type of people keep to themselves a lot more there. They have their groups and stuff. Here, I think those people are we're so welcoming, and it was just really reassuring. I mean, it took some time, but I caught on quick, and I never want to go back.
Ha! Well, now are you wearing Wranglers and cowboy boots? You're a cowboy.
Some nights, yeah.
Yeah, you are. You're a cowboy now. Now, let me ask you. Now, are a lot of the guys there, like in your fraternity, are they Oklahoma City boys?
No. Actually, most of my fraternity is from Dallas, and that goes for the school in general. Most of the school, OU gave in-state tuition to Dallas up until I think last year. So like 40% of the school is from Dallas.
Okay. All right. Interesting. We got a Oklahoma City boys in your fraternity?
Yeah, a few.
Okay.
Tulsa.
Okay, Tulsa also. All right. And are you the only AZ kid?
Yeah. I'm the only kid to the west.
Really?
We have an Orange County kid. We have a kid from St. Clemente.
Okay. Wow, just the two.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Now, what's your fraternity called?
We're ATO, Alpha Tau Omega.
Okay, and what type of guy is an Alpha Tau Omega?
That's a great question because I always wondered that too. Because I feel like there's a lot of other fraternities here that have a stereotype, but I feel like for us, I think it's just a really well-rounded, I think very lively, the guys I described. Like a lot of guys who are like always wanted to do something. There's not a lot of like, oh, let's just sit around and do nothing today. It's always guys who want to be out and about and doing something. A lot of guys are involved, stuff like that.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, I love that. Well, you're there, man, so it's got to be.
Right.
Great. And when you did the pledgeship, they picked you as like, what is there some kind of with all the fraternities and sororities get together and they do like a theater production?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And what's it called?
University Sing.
University Sing.
So yeah, each sorority and fraternity pair together and do a Broadway style show.
And all freshmen, right? The new
all freshmen.
Okay, and so you got the lead part playing Shakespeare, correct?
I did, yes.
Did you know you had that in you, man?
I don't know if I do have that in me, but I did for that span of time.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? There's going to be more of that, or what's going on with it?
I'm not sure. I might help out as there's called directors that are upperclassmen with it next year. I may do that.
You were good, man.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's something totally different than I've ever done before.
Right. But it was cool, man. You were good. I loved it, man. So yeah, there's you got the entertainer in you. Now you're going to school. What's your major? Sports business?
Yeah, sports business.
Okay, and what's your minor?
I don't have one yet. I'm probably going to go marketing is my guess.
It is? Okay, what's the Storm Chaser one called?
Meteorology.
Okay, you're not going that direction?
I don't think so, no.
No, okay, so what's your goal? What's your vision? You want to get into working for a sports team?
MLB team preferably. That's my goal in life. I'd love to work.
All right.
I mean, obviously, this is shooting high, but Theo Epstein's job was my dream job.
Well, yeah. No shit.
No kidding. I know.
No.
But not even that high. There's levels to it, too.
Yeah. You got to dream big. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, you're a smart kid. You're already top 20% at the school. I mean, you could do that, man. I believe you can. Seriously. And
I sure hope so.
you know, you love baseball and you follow it like no other human, and so yeah, man. Stay on that dream. No dream is too big.
Right.
Right on. So are you watch? So what's the teams like out there? How's your baseball team this year?
We are first in the Big 12 actually right now.
Wow, was that predicted?
So no, it wasn't. We were supposed to be the middle of the pack team, but we're a real scrappy bunch. They play a lot of small ball. Play the game the right way, as one may say.
Okay.
Well, we just dropped our series to Texas at home, which kind of sucks. But we're still some time this season. And you know, if they keep playing the way they've been playing lately, there's a chance they could host a regional here, which would be really cool.
That would be cool. Wow, you gonna come back for that, or will you stay there?
I mean, I'm not sure. That would probably happen like 2 weeks after or a week after I would have gone home. I think I had my surgery that weekend. That would be.
I got you. It's tough. I know. It's too bad that the baseball. It's the only bad thing about baseball that once they get in a tournament, the schools are done. Yeah, they're out. They're out for the summer.
If we went to Omaha, though, I'd definitely be.
Oh yeah.
Want to get out there.
Oh no doubt, man, no doubt. Well, Spence, and how has school been? Like, are you enjoying it? And obviously, your studies are doing well because you got that great letter. Tell me about that.
Right. I mean, so far, I'm still in some of my entry-level business courses. I haven't really gotten to get into anything, like, for my major specifically. But there are definitely some still interesting classes, but so a lot of those like, large lecture halls, 500 kids, one professor, like, I don't know, kind of out of college, kind of like a college kind of movie.
Right. Do you like that atmosphere?
It's not bad. I mean, it's nice, especially when I have a lot of like pledge brothers in my classes early on, because we're all taking the same like core business classes. But I really am excited to see how my classes go as they get more and more tuned to my major.
Right. Absolutely, man. And when are you coming back home? A couple weeks?
May 10th is my last final.
Okay. And are you following the Cubbies?
Yes, I have been.
Yeah,
Bad series in Boston, but we're hurt right now.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, for
we'll bounce back.
Yeah, how the guys have been down, and I'm loving Pete Crow Armstrong. I always
PCA looks legit, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, he was getting a lot of flack last year. They couldn't hit. I'm like, no, the kid kind of got rushed, and So we might need to get our defense straight over at third and first. I mean, we got good hitters on the corners, but the D is a little shaky.
Morel might find himself as a permanent DH pretty soon.
He does he's made some good plays of late. You got to give him a little more time, and I think that's why he's struggling a little bit at the plate because he's adapting to defense
right now.
Yeah, no doubt. But I like him. I think we're looking good, right?
No, I do too. I mean, I think one thing, I love the team like chemistry. We haven't had that in a while.
Right.
I feel like the guys really like each other. It always just looks like they're having fun. I don't know. I feel like if you watch some of those Cubs games in 2021, even 2022, like it did not look like guys were having a good time in the clubhouse.
Right. They were starting to a little bit last year at times, and then the last part was awful to watch. But I think you're right, man. I think they got a lively team, and when they get everyone together, our pitching staff, we're dominant lefty, which is kind of cool, Yeah.
So, Shota looks really great.
Speaking of pitchers, you're on the episode with Fergie Jenkins. I interviewed Fergie Jenkins, man.
Wow.
And unbelievable just talking to him. But, the one thing, Spence, that you have as a young man is consistency. Keep it up because Fergie had it. Grandpa had it, right? And it's out there every day, working hard. That's you, man. That's you. And as a person, too, that's you. And I just got to tell you, Grandpa would be so proud of you with what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, he really would, man. And it's staying consistent is in a good way. That's how you keep moving up, man. That's the one thing I would say to you. Just you go at something, go at it hard, and be consistent in how you do it. And that's you, man. That's you. All right, Spencer. What do you got planned tonight?
We're on dead week right now, so we got finals next week. So I'm probably just gonna start getting ready for finals, get some homework knocked out.
Okay.
Throw on some baseball probably.
There you go.
Nice
Cubs are on right now.
Yeah.
They're on right now. All right, Spencer. Great talking to you, pal. Congratulations on everything. All right. I'll talk to you when you get back to AZ. All right. See you, pal.
Good to hear from you. Bye.
Good luck in finals. Later.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to our show. Special thanks to our cool crackerjacks, Scott Nelson, Jim McCauley, Debbie Foley, Sherry Matarisi, Terry O'Brien, Gary Tallman, Anne Marie Pascule, and Jim Muleschlegel.
The show is made possible because of all of them and all of our subscribers. If you want to support the show and be a cool crackerjack yourself, subscribe on our Patreon page, click the link below this episode, or go to the Patreon tab on our website, www.peanutspopcornandcrackerjacks.com.
Remember to click the follow button for the next episode and leave a review. Come on, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
And don't hesitate to write. Give us suggestions. Tell us how you're liking the show. Email jeff.ppcpodcast@gmail.com.
For my closing quote, in baseball, you can't kill the clock. You got to give the other man his chance. That's why this is the greatest game. Fergie Jenkins.
Toodaloo!
SantoFilms.com, the place to buy This Old Cub DVDs, posters, and This Old Cub t-shirts. Get yourself one now at SantoFilms.com.